Good evening, everyone. It's Kinda Burnt. I'm Kinda Burnt, and it is weird not being in the dark again. I'm awfully pasty when I'm not in the dark. First of all, let me just say thank you for all the subscribers and all the watchers and all the likes and some of the comments. It has been, frankly, kind of overwhelming for a guy who just started. The turnout has been great. And I appreciate it, and I recognize some of your faces, and I'm glad that you're here. I hope we can continue to hang out, and watching spooky stuff, and talking about stuff that I like to talk about. That being said, let's work in a segue. How about that? I kind of said it before. I'm not trying to put stuff and labels and parameters on this channel, but it was intended to kind of be a variety channel. It's not just going to be video game stuff. And I did want to work in another one of these videos when I had the chance. Who knows when I'm going to be able to again. There's this subject that I've been wanting to talk about. I've been asked several times over the last few years by people who were interested. This is the first time I've ever been able to talk about it in any meaningful way, and I hope this gives people the answers that they were wanting. And I get the question is, why do I not review movies anymore? For those of you who don't know, I used to have a radio show. I'll talk about it as though it was yesterday, but it was not. It was years ago. I was a different person. And that's kind of the point, although I'll get to that. I felt like this was a good thing to talk about right now, on top of the fact that a lot of people have been asking me about it, but also it's kind of feeding into why I started this channel in the first place. So hopefully you get the answers that you were wanting. I used to have a radio show where I reviewed movies and basically got paid to go see movies. I loved it. It was exactly what I wanted to do at the time of my life. It was very, very gratifying to know that some people were listening to what I had to say, and a lot of people were even agreeing with me. So life got in the way, and I had to quit. Lots of different responsibilities, lots of different things converge, and I just had to stop. I sort of kept doing it on Facebook unofficially. Just sort of wrote reviews whenever I happened to see a movie, and a lot of people responded to that. And then after a while, I kind of stopped doing that too. There's no easy answer. It's a lot of different things. Some things converged all at once, and some things sort of happened over time. The big thing was that I sort of didn't know if I had the right. I sort of had a crisis of faith in myself. It's a chicken and egg situation. I don't really remember what happened first. I remember going back through some of my old reviews when I first started out and seeing that I did not agree with them at all. And that got me to second guessing. Got me to kind of admitting to myself that I had changed. Being a guy who's all about consistency, that kind of frightened me and alarmed me. It was something that I had to sort of wrap my head around and get used to and sort of reconcile with myself and accept. I wasn't the same person I was when I started that show. I wasn't the same person when I tried doing this in the first place. I did a little soul searching. I just kind of felt like I didn't want to do it anymore. It had a lot to do with the fact that I've never really taken pleasure in tearing people down. The thought that started to form in my head was that it was very easy for me as a nobody. Even though I went to school, and unlike some armchair critics and specialists, actually had schooling in filmmaking and art criticism and film criticism. I still have the books, actually. So I knew, sort of, what I was talking about. I at least felt I had more right to be saying these things than some other outspoken people. And I felt like I could be more measured and more fair and more educated on it. But it just occurred to me that I don't think a lot of people set out to make a bad thing from the start. I know that some people do, but I don't think a lot of people do. And even if the people at the top don't really care about the quality, I know that some people at the bottom and in the middle and everyone throughout is trying their best and trying to make something of quality. It just didn't feel right for me to be just some fat guy on the radio or online, just one of many, saying this was crap or this was good. I just didn't feel like it was right. I didn't feel like it was fair. Even when I did my research, even when I felt like I was in the right, I felt bad. I felt extraordinarily bad. I don't like tearing people down. I don't like saying certain things that cast people in a crappy light. I just don't. There was a time when that might have been different, but that's certainly not the person I am now. The flip side of that argument that has been posited to me more than once is that it might be different if I were, say, needlessly criticizing or needlessly putting down an indie filmmaker or someone with a modest budget and modest means, someone who had a vision but not much else. It would be one thing to, cut them some slack or feel bad for making fun or tearing down their movie or their hard work. That's feeling bad for the little guy. Most of the time, I wasn't reviewing indie movies. I was reviewing blockbusters. I was reviewing big, huge movies that were funded by big, huge corporations, and I don't know that you gain anything from defending a corporation or letting certain things that they do slide. And that's about as controversial as I'm going to say anything on this channel. Point is, when a company puts as much effort as they do into something like that, when it's millions with an M of dollars into a film and thousands, maybe millions of people, man hours and work into a film, you expect to get your money's worth, even if it's for 2 hours. That's fair. I know that some people were sort of appealing to my better judgment there, saying that it's their time, it's their money. If they're going to be watching something, if they're going to be doing something, giving their money to some faceless corporation for their enjoyment, they better know for a fact that it's going to be worth it. And to some people, I was a guiding voice. They relied on me for that. And that's really weird to say. But it's very gratifying in hindsight to know that some people actually agreed with me. That some people actually thought that some of the things I had to say and some of the things I paid attention to were the things that they were paying attention to. And those were the things that they cared about. It did give me pause, making me wonder if I'd done the right thing. Plus I had a lot of things to sort out. There were just other things that I had to deal with, still dealing with. But that was so compelling that it actually momentarily dug me out of whatever doldrums I was in. And I decided, okay, fine. I will revive my show. I was even in the process of trying to figure out, should I do it as a YouTube channel or should I do it as a podcast? I was that into, can you even call it pre-production? The planning stages. I had the desire, I had the momentum going, and then the pandemic happened. And then the entire future of Hollywood seemed to be up in question. And to be honest with you, sometimes I wonder if it wouldn't be just the greatest thing in the world if the entire movie industry as it is just slid into the ocean. I have a lot of conflicted feelings on that I won't share here. Mostly because I'm still trying to figure out what they even are. For a few years now, on top of the fact that we've been sort of trying to keep our health in check, it honestly felt like a sign. And I felt like if I had continued with that idea in that certain time span, it would have been like trying to sell speedboats in the middle of a drought. So I didn't. And I just wasn't sure where to go from there. Honestly, I'm not sure that I do, still. This channel was sort of created like a lot of things that I do. I get tired. I get fed up. I get motivated in this weird headspace where I'm somewhere between exhaustion and enlightenment. I think some of the best decisions I've ever made is when I got fed up. But that's another story. So out of the ashes of that idea sort of rose this channel. So here I am, putting it into action. Nervous and scared every time I get in front of a camera. But that's kind of my thing. So, what does that mean for movie reviews? This is all kind of a long-winded explanation of saying that I intend to do more movie reviews. I intend to do more reviews in general. But it's going to be very, very different. It's not going to be the way it used to be. Because I'm not happy with the way it used to be. There will be a time and place when I say this objectively is good and this objectively is bad. But honestly, I like to view things through the lens of this is what I like, this is what I don't like. If you care at all, I'll tell you why. That is how I would like to frame things. Eventually. Full disclosure, I was thinking about doing a Suicide Squad movie review. I watched it recently, but I just don't know that I've got the time and energy to squeeze one out. Ew. I don't even know what form it will take. I'm not going to force it, and I'm not going to fall into a format that I end up having to change because I don't like it, but I was stuck with it because I didn't think it through. I also need to figure out exactly what people are wanting, because the days of me going to midnight premieres are probably done, and the whole climate of movies in general is changing. It may not even matter that we get a lot of premiere access and, streaming potential in our homes. We can watch our movie the day of the premiere from our couch in our underwear. It may not even matter then. I may have to wait because I have other responsibilities. I have other things I have to do. How's my opinion going to be valuable to you, except in retrospect? That's kind of the thing that I'm wrestling with right now. It might be different if I didn't have other things in the way, and maybe someday that will change. If there's ever a time I can do this full time, that's a different story. But currently that's not where I'm at yet. The job became about chasing release dates. And that kind of flies in the face of everything I want to do with this channel, especially when the spirit of the channel is sort of unwinding and just releasing stress instead of generating it. I suppose what I could do, and honestly the more I think about it, the more I would rather do it, is what I used to do and what I wanted to do, which was just, if I like a thing, if I have time, if I feel like I've got my thoughts together, I'll review it. And if that means that I'm going to review some action movie from the 80s, or some horror film or something that comes out in theaters, or something that drops on streaming, or something that I've never seen before and didn't give a proper chance, maybe even re-review something that I gave a review to years prior and see if that still holds up. I don't know. I hope that answered your questions, and I hope that clarified some things for everybody. And there will be other videos like this because I've got stuff that I'd like to talk about. But I think that's enough for now. I love you guys. Thank you for being there. I hope to repay it in kind. Until the next video, guys. Burn out.